Hello, welcome to Candid Chats on Cancer. I'm Mary Robinson.
And I'm Jamie Moore. So Mary, who are we chatting with today?
I'm super excited to have Rebecca Vinton with us. She is the Executive Director of A Time to Heal Foundation.
Welcome,
Thank
Becky.
you.
Hi, nice to see you both. Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about your program?
You bet. So A Time to Heal Cancer Foundation, we're a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and we were founded to help survivors and their caregivers create their best life after cancer treatment. So we've been around actually almost 14 years already, and survivorship is really our space. So once cancer survivors are have completed that treatment, they're referred to A Time to Heal to go through a 12-week holistic wellness recovery class to help them create their best life after they've been through the cancer treatment.
So it's for the survivors. Okay.
And their caregivers.
And caregivers as well, yes. So
Okay.
our program is designed for both the caregiver and the cancer survivor as well.
Describe your program to us, because we haven't been able to find anything for the once we get done with cancer, it seems like we're just kind of out there now. We don't know where to go. We've had our hands held for a year or 2 years. So it's great to hear so what's your program? What do we do when we get into your program?
It's a great point, because that's exactly what we were founded upon, was that premise. One of our founders, we have two founders of A Time to Heal, Dr. Stephanie Koroleski and Dr. Kay Ryan. Dr. Koroleski was a cancer oncology psychologist, and
Really?
Kay Ryan was a nurse, and she also had cancer, and she was a wellness specialist. After Kay went through cancer treatment for breast cancer, on her last appointment, the doctor said, "Congratulations, you're now done. We'll see you in 3 months."
Yes.
And she felt, I'm a different person now. There's nothing for me. I've had such great team of people around me through this journey of surviving. Now I want to thrive. And how do I thrive in this new life, being a cancer survivor? So she and Steph were good friends, and with Steph being the psychologist and Kay being the wellness nurse, they decided to create this program based on research on what really are the components to help people from a psychosocial aspect create their best life. So they got the best of the best experts around to help them write a curriculum. They got a grant, and we were born with a 12-week class. At that time, it was designed for breast cancer survivors. And the program was working so well, then they included all cancers. And then they felt that their curriculum, being that it was research-based, was helping survivors, that caregivers could also learn quite a bit from that. So eventually the time and the program has evolved into this now full holistic model that really shows results based on reduced anxiety, increased level of resilience, and there's many other aspects that they're able to actually show as a positive result for cancer survivors and their caregivers.
Wonderful.
And it's wonderful because my husband and I actually went through the program in 2015.
Yeah.
And we absolutely loved it. It was actually, we called it our date night because
I
it
love
was
that.
just so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, we
Really?
got away from the kids and the family, and we ended up going there, having a nice meal is how the night began. And you got to visit with people. And then you're right, they did have a breast cancer survivorship go in one room.
Right.
And then since I had leukemia, I call them the other, because it's just whatever other cancers you have. We went to another room, and then we had our evening, and I really enjoyed it.
That's great, and that's exactly what we hope the participants to come away from, is that it's a time out. It's really creating positivity in their life and being with their loved ones, and that's why we love to hear that your husband went with you, and that
he enjoyed it too.
Good.
Yes.
And then he probably met some people, and of course, food that always brings people
always
together.
brings people.
Yeah, free food.
Free food,
And it
which
was
is always
healthy.
good, and healthy food. That's one of our components, is nutrition.
Right.
Specifically, the chapters are designed by experts. So the person that wrote the nutrition chapter is a dietitian who works in oncology, and so each of the experts were identified for their specialty, so that Dr. Steph and Dr. Kay knew going into this curriculum being that they're researchers too, that they wanted to make sure that it was based on the most relevant knowledge out there.
So you're talking chapters now. Is that like, so the program is how many weeks long?
So we have at A Time to Heal actually different programs. The 12-week class is actually the holistic wellness recovery class that Mary went through and her husband, and that is a 12-week class, and every week is divided up into a different chapter, and each class is actually 3 hours long. So it's quite a commitment.
Right.
However, with Dr. Ryan being a behavior change specialist and wellness specialist, in order to really think differently about your life, they wanted to make sure they built it with that longevity and the repetitive recurrence of coming back, and then also learning a new concept every week. And so within the class, the first half of the class is an expert. We have actually different speakers that come in and teach that section. Many of them are the authors of the chapter themselves, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And then we take a little bit of an exercise break where we incorporate some easy stretching and some breathing exercises.
That was so much fun.
Beach balls and
Yes.
and just real easy
Ribbons
because
or something.
ribbons and scarves, and without knowing everybody's complete history of their surgeries and things, they made it very easy to be just moving the body slowly but also safely. And then at the very end, the last half of each class is that social support aspect where we divide up into groups and have that conversation time. And each group is led by a licensed mental health practitioner or a psychologist. Each of our facilitators are medical people or trained in their area of expertise. So a lot goes into it, but it's been proven now with over 10 years of research that the program does make a significant impact in helping people create their best life.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's really nice. And when she's talking about the chapters, there's a book for survivors, and there's also a book for caregivers.
Yes.
And so, you know, if you and your wife ever wanted to go, then she would have her own book, and then you read up on that chapter, so you kind of know a little bit about what's going on the
Before you
week
go into
prior,
the-
and then, yep. And
So there's homework?
a little bit.
A little bit,
but
it's
it's not
fun.
bad. Some of it you do in class.
A lot of it is what you do in class, but the fun part of the homework is power tools. So within each
Okay.
chapter, Steph and Kay designed power tools based again on research of different ideas like meditation and affirmations and just the fear of recurrence of cancer is a big part of the curriculum. So how do you manage that fear of recurrence? So there's a lot of reframing on how you think about it. I am not a cancer expert, however, based on the research that they have found and both with their expertise, teaching these power tools are extremely important. So then when people are feeling anxious during the week in between class, they can use those power tools, something that works for them. And A Time to Heal provides the smorgasbord of options of those power tools. Some people absolutely do not like meditation. They've tried it, it's not for them. Other people may gravitate toward humor, watching a funny TV show or reruns of Seinfeld or something. You know, that's what really lifts their spirits. So we just provide the venue to introduce all these different concepts and power tools that hopefully one or two of those things will resonate with the participants, and then they can then calm themselves and then really focus on their own personal healing in a more holistic way.
I like the idea of the smorgasbord because not one thing seems to fit every one person.
Absolutely,
And
right.
it's like you're saying, like for me, I didn't find much fun in humorous shows. But I did well with the affirmation and the meditation.
Yeah.
But now for some other people, like I may not do well with meditation at all, because meditation when you're sick is, I found it kind of hard to do because you'd kind of go in and out as you felt, ill. So
I found that hard to do during my treatments as well. And I think it's because it was something I normally didn't do.
Right.
And so then I was like, oh, is it work? Do I have to think? I just didn't know really what I was doing,
Right.
you know, or what I was supposed to be doing. So that's why it was difficult for me. I don't know.
Well, it was difficult. It was the same way. I was told if you meditate about, your attitude, meditate about healing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's the instructions you're given. So I like the idea of homework.
Mm-hmm.
That you got a book that you can sit down and a chapter written by an expert and say, oh, okay, this is how I do this. And then to come into class the following week and have it, you hear it, now you hear it.
Right.
And then you go home and practice it. So it's the rule of threes. You read it, heard it, practice it. Where we just were told to do it.
Right.
What a beautiful idea.
And I think really that's the point exactly of what you just said, is that everybody responds differently to everything. So it's finding what works for you, and journaling is another good example, and incorporating just writing down your emotions and writing down your feelings and just being able to process those things. So Steph and Kay were just so revolutionary when they thought about all the different things that people react to and how they respond to different forms of holistic wellness is really what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You almost have to go through it in order to understand it, and be an RN on top of it all. I mean, I can imagine how she felt, surviving it, and then realizing where the gap was. I mean, because it really was. I think I've told Mary, and we've talked about this before, that, yeah, on my last day, it's like, okay, you beat cancer, or you can go on a chemo vacation. See you in 3 months. And I felt lonely.
That's exactly right, and that's what Kay thought too. And here she was a cardiac rehab nurse by trade, and she said, gosh, if I would have had a heart attack, I'd get 3 months of rehab, and if I would have broken my leg, I'd get 3 months of physical therapy. But because I'm a cancer survivor, there isn't anything there for me. We need to create something in order to understand what our new life is, because according to Kay, she said her life was different, and
it changes people.
How does it change people? Exactly. So when we talk about survivorship, we talk about many different aspects of that, but really it's that fear of recurrence and other aspects of that. And they really did a nice job of thinking through all the different areas that means, whether it be the physical, the mind, the body, the spirit, all of that, and how it's all part of that healing process. And so A Time to Heal actually started with that core program, and since that time, in 2005, we've actually grown quite a bit in that now we have trained facilitators across the state of Nebraska. We have facilitators in South Dakota and Western Iowa, so there's a lot of facilities now that are offering the 12-week class. We also have a class on brain fog, which is cancer-related chemo brain, if you will, and a lot of...
What's that?
I took that class too. What didn't I do, Jamie? I took it.
Did you like it?
I did. I really liked it, because I'm telling you, even now, but I've been through this twice now.
Yes.
And so sometimes my brain just doesn't want to work the way it used to. And this brain fog class gave a lot of different strategies so that you can feel more on top of your game. And
right.
I mean, that's really all it boiled down to for me. I mean, there's so much more to it, but from what I recall, because that was also in 2015 that I did that, it seemed to me, we had some sort of homework again, and she had some worksheets for us to do, but then we also had activities that we had to do during the class that would make our brain start working. Sometimes I'm like, I can't think, but it truly was rewarding to me, because it gave me like, just for instance, writing your notes, sticky notes, putting them in your car. You can see it on your way to wherever you're going. It'll help remind you of the things you need to do. Just simple things like that. That's just one of them. But
And that program was designed actually by a brain scientist, a neuroscientist out of Canada. And she also is a cancer survivor, but she had actually created this program before she had gotten cancer.
Oh, really?
Based on her own research. And it's really interesting that people, it takes practice to remember things.
Yeah.
And a lot of the survivors that we talk with at A Time to Heal have said, you know, the physical stuff I can at least manage, but it's that memory piece that really drives me crazy, that
Right.
intellectual piece. And so we were answering the call of what our participants were wanting and needing as part of really celebrating and living their best life. And that's a big part of it, that mental well-being. And then from there, we also grew with a metastatic support group. So that is for folks that have the recurring cancers or the metastatic cancers. So that is the only support group format that A Time to Heal offers routinely, that is always offered. So the classes, both Brain Fog and the Holistic Wellness class, both end. There's a start and a finish
Right.
to those classes, but the metastatic support group is a ongoing twice a month that we offer for folks that are living with cancer. So that's
Nice.
And you have somebody to facilitate that class?
yes, that is also facilitated by a psychologist and a licensed mental health person, as well as a nurse, oncology nurse.
Oh, wow.
Facilitates those. And we've partnered with the Hope Lodge now here in Omaha with the American Cancer Society. So our classes now are being held at the Hope Lodge so that their guests that are in town from other parts that are at least 40 miles or more away
Right.
are able to take advantage of participating in those groups while they're here in town going through treatment. So those are right on site in the beautiful new Hope Lodge.
That's nice.
Yes.
It's a great partnership, I think, with them as well.
That would be great to be, you know, at the Hope Lodge and be in a class with another person that's going through cancer. You could do your homework together.
Yes, right.
That is a great idea.
And it's nice, though, to do your homework with your caregiver, too.
Yeah.
I know Tim and I mean, we did it together, too. It was
That's
just a
great.
nice way for us to have that time and for maybe him to understand a little bit more of what I was going through when maybe I couldn't explain it until we were in the class. And you know, sometimes it takes a while for somebody to recognize what's even happening to them. And then when you hear about it, you can fully be aware of it. And I think it really helped us out, too.
Good, great.
Yeah.
It's a good place for like survivors to go and talk, because I think a lot of times too, when you survive cancer and they go, okay, you survived, you know, the people, your caregivers now take a deep breath and kind of back away from you a little bit so they can basically get on with their lives again. I think it's a great idea. Also too, when you were talking about the reoccurring cancers, you know, how before every test that you have, you know, like Mary's got a test coming up. I just got a test, you know, a couple of weeks ago. And it seems to be that anxiety leading up to the test or after the test can be overwhelming. And so it'd be nice to be able to sit down with other people that are sitting in that same boat.
Right.
But one of the things I wanted to bring in was I didn't realize how much work I was as a cancer person for my cancer support group. You know, basically my wife and my sons. They're the most left out after the cancer, and so I think for you it's beautiful that you guys have incorporated not just the cancer person, because I mean we are the center of attention, but by bringing in the support people too, what a wonderful idea. Now,
Because the caregivers need some healing too.
Oh,
they've
absolutely.
actually
they
been
need
through
a
a lot.
lot of healing. I didn't realize until, you know, like when I started getting better, that my wife would go, "You were a pain. You were a pain here."
Oh, I
here,
doubt
here."
that, Jamie.
Not me.
Come on, Jamie. No.
So, but you don't even realize it. In fact, you don't even really even remember that period, or you don't remember how taxing it was on them, and to be able to, for them to be around other caregivers and have a nice, you know, mealtime for our family is when we actually sit down and talk. And so you guys incorporating a meal, it's kind of like it's more like a family is what I'm hearing.
It is. It's fellowship. You know, food brings people together, and it is an important part of and whether people's taste buds aren't back or there's things like that. I mean, there's struggles that go with that, but it's that fellowship time that is so important. And you know, most of the components of the 12-week class, I think, really do resonate with caregivers when you talk about something like resilience and thinking about a rubber band, and that's really the definition of resilience. You're stretched to your limit. It's, can you make that shape back again after that stretch is done? Can you bounce back? Yeah. And so caregivers also have to be the strong one, and they are sometimes dealing with their own challenges, obviously, with being strong for their loved one, but then also taking good care of themselves from a self-care perspective. So teaching them skills like resilience and the other components of the chapters, I think, is extremely important. So if you do it together, like what you did, Mary, I think that's ideal. That is textbook what I think we would recommend. So it's a great, it's great to hear that you were really doing that, because that's awesome.
Well, I feel like that was our time to really reconnect again, because I was finding my new me, and he was trying to get back to his you know, routines and whatnot after he could breathe again, as you say. And it was a really nice way to do that. And I also went to your annual conference. I don't know how many years you guys have done that now.
This is actually going to be our 5th annual, so it's a big one for us.
Really?
Yes.
And I went to the first one, and I don't remember. I think I got back into life, and you know, people get busy and whatnot. But I would love to hear a little bit about that too.
Yes. So this, like I said, will be our 5th annual Art of Living Beyond Cancer conference. The first 4 years actually was the Art of Living with Cancer, and now we thought it's living beyond cancer. So whether you're still living with
I love that
or
idea.
beyond. So that's our little subtle change, is the Art of Living Beyond Cancer. And we incorporate the breakouts and the topics to really be for survivors, caregivers, medical professionals. We do offer continuing education units for professionals like social workers, nurses, as well. It's half a day, because we know that's about as much as we want to do, as well as our participants. So it starts in the morning around 8 o'clock and goes till 1. It'll be in April 13th of 2019 at the Scott Conference Center, and I'll have more information about that. But we really try to build in topics that we know could resonate with those different folks, no matter how you're being impacted by cancer, whether you're a survivor or taking care of a loved one. There's something there for everybody. We have vendors from the community that come and provide resources. So and what's really fun about it, last year was the first one that I had gone to, having been relatively new with A Time to Heal, but it was like old home week for everybody. These were folks that had gone through classes together 5, 6, 10 years ago that use our event, the conference, to come together and have a reunion and see one another. And it's really just a special opportunity to see those folks using this conference as that.
That is so good.
Yeah, I remember going to it, and I did see some friends from A Time to Heal.
Yes.
And it was really nice. And I think we were given gifts too, of just, you know, some goodie bags.
Presents are all
Everybody loves goodie bags.
Everybody loves those. And you had a nice lunch.
Yes.
Provided. And
always have
what is
food
the fee for that? It seemed like there was a little bit of a fee.
It's a little bit of a fee. It's about $50, and if a medical professional would like CEs, we do charge a little more for that. We're excited. We are having a bigger name speaker this year. Scott Hamilton, who's a cancer survivor, figure skater, is our keynote. And so we're very excited about having him come and visit A Time to Heal next year, and be able to talk with the survivors as well. So it's going to be a great day of celebration. To really, it is an art of living beyond cancer. So
there is an art to living beyond cancer, without a doubt. I think that you guys are like incorporating all the right things in the right package. It just blows me away what you guys are doing. Now, in the chapters, is there going to be a book available that people can get down the line?
Yes, there's actually, if you go through the 12-week class, participants are given a workbook, and then caregivers are given a book also. We're hoping to always be updating that information with the newest research that's out there and try to stay on top of what's happening in the industry of research and cancer survivorship. So we'll probably be down the line here, not too long down the line, of updating the resources that we have. Again, with it being evidence-based, it's really important that we stay on top of what's current in the industry. So we'll be doing that soon. And our website has, we're growing the website, we're building the website, but we have resources on there for survivors as well as caregivers. And
what is your website, the name of it?
It's timetohealfoundation.org or atth.org. So we are constantly evolving and changing, so growing that so that people can visit our site and at a click of a button can access current information, both from that's medically based as well as making sure it's evidence-based as well.
Cool.
That's wonderful.
Rebecca, thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
You guys got a beautiful program. In fact, I'd done the opposite of Mary. I kind of went the lone wolf route, and she got involved in everything. And now that I'm talking to more people, I can't wait to get involved in your program. And I know my wife can't wait to get involved in your program. So we'll be in there with you.
Great.
So thank you ever so much for being on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So great to have
both.
you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And join us again for another Candid Chats on Cancer.
Be well.